Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of a 2016 Chausson Welcome 727 G8. So as we start with a walk around of the outside of the vehicle on the driver's side, one of these keys open the gas locker, and the rest does all the rest of the locks and doors. So in here, LPG, liquid petroleum gas, is the gas locker. And as you can see, you've got two 11kg gas flow bottles in there, so these are refillable, as the last customer had them on the vehicle and left them with it. The refill up points there, so you go to your local LPG centre, get the gun, bayonet fitting, clips on, pull the trigger back and press the button on the display panel on the fuel where you can see the litres and the price until it was basically stopped filling. So something like this would probably take about 25 to 30 pound to fill and last a while, and obviously you can see that they're full because they're in the green there as well. So this one's full and this one's in the green as well. And to turn the bottles on, you just turn on here, and you do have a changeover valve, so you see they're both showing green. So this is on this bottle because the tab's there, and this one is on this bottle. So you can pick your bottle, but they do fill. When you fill, they both fill together. So continuing our walk around, you've got your two fridge vents, on light and your awning. And your WC, this is your chemical cassette. So again, you'd open it with a key, drop it down, make sure the blade's closed first, lift the handle and slide it out. You do have a handle there, so you can drag it around the site when it's heavy. You go to your chemical waste point to dispose of the cassette, which is normally behind or beside the toilet block. Take this cap off, press the button, tip out about 90 degrees so you don't get it all over your hands. Put some water in, give it a rinse, tip out again, and then if you're using the liquid, the cap falls straight into here. If you're using the tablets, which are the new form, slide this back, water, a pint of water into there, and drop a tablet down the toilet. Just behind the back wheel is your waste water outlet. So this is a point you'd want to drain off in the winter. So say anything you've put down the plug hole goes into here. Normally on the way out of the site, you go to the motorhome service bay and pull this lever out, and it'll drain any water off. But in the winter, it's very important that you drain it off as well, because obviously frosted is just plastic tanks and plastic pipe work on a motorhome that could potentially freeze. So that would be one point you would want to pull out. I've got your Easy Chef here, so this is your gas barbecue grill. There you go. Release the tab, pull it out. Obviously this works off the gas on board, and you can barbecue outside. There is a small gas tap there, so you can turn it on and off just there. And then if you lift this handle up, just to slide it back in. You've got your garage area. And in here you've got your carpets and various bits and pieces. A light. It's heated by the heating. It's got 12 volt and 240 in there. And you've got your rafter bar, your on and winding handle, and your bike rack handle to pull your bike rack down. Come round to the back, so to operate your bike rack as it's a wind down one, like I've said about the handle would clip on here. You loosen the straps up and wind it down until you can get the bikes on. Once you can get the bikes on, you can then strap them on properly by putting the wheels on the rails here and clipping them on. And then these handles here, you'd use them for the crossbars. And then what you do is you put a chain round just to be safe, so maybe a security chain just in case you're stopping at the services, popping in, you don't want your bikes nicked. And then what you do is you'd wind it back up until you are happy that the bikes are secured and high enough. Got a back access locker door and rear reverse sensors. And then on this side of the garage, in here is your boiler drain. You can't really see it, but if I just put a torch on, you'll see the black box underneath the pipe. And what that is, it's an anti-frost control valve. So at 3 degrees it automatically drops, but I wouldn't rely on it. On the top of it there's a blue diamond that goes from front of the van to the back of the van. That means it's holding water, and there's a small button on the bottom of it on this side. What you've got to do is you've got to turn it. The water will come draining out underneath, which is letting the 10 litres of water out, and that's when the valve goes from front to back. Turn it the other way and push the button in, will stop it from draining. But what we'll do is we'll show you this on the day if it's too confusing to understand on a video. You've got your Truma vent for your heater, so do just make sure this isn't blocked by anything. You've got no covers to take off, it just does its own thing. And then walking further on, you've got your shower point, so your bullfinch connection goes in there. As long as you've got hot water and you've had it on, you can use the hot water, so you can go from off, mix the temperature, and this is great for the dogs, the bike. So if you've been on the beach and you want to hose your feet off before getting in the vehicle, you can do. And here you've got your mains connectivity point. So what you do is you get your hooker blade, lift the collar on the vehicle, slide it over and connect. Press the button on the left hand side when unhooking, but always hook the vehicle up first, then walk to your power source and do it in reverse when unhooking. In this locker, this is called your Technibox locker, so it's got all your electrics one side, all your water the other. So what I'd do is I'd advise going to get a hose pipe. Any will do as long as it hasn't been used in the garden. Some hose connections, because just a brass tap. Put your hose in there, wait until it overflows or until you're happy you've got enough water, which you can see on the main control panel inside the vehicle. Should you have a full tank of water and you want to have a bit better of a payload or be better on fuel, you'd lift this lever here. It'll leave a remaining of 20 litres of water on. So what you do is lift it up, put the pump on and open the tap, and it'll squirt out underneath. So it'll take a full tank of 20 litres of water. And then if you wanted to get rid of the last 20 litres of water, i.e. if you're winterising, obviously you can get in here when cleaning once it's all emptied, but if you want to remove the last 20 litres of water, you need to get underneath the vehicle, and on here you just simply pull this off the pipe. It's just a compression fitting, and that'll drain off the last 20 litres or a full tank if you didn't want to use the travel drain feature. On the other side you've got all your electrics. So you've got your RCD unit, so if you trip on main electric, you've got your 12 volt fuses. I would carry some spares, and you've got your charger unit to charge your leisure batteries when hooked up. Come to the passenger door, you've got your diesel filler, which opens with the main ignition key. And then inside the door you've got your tyre pressure, so 5.5 bar all round, which is 79.5 psi. You can see that you've got one of your leisure batteries underneath here. There is an additional one underneath that seat there at the back. Main engine battery lives here, and your bonnet release is just there. So we'll just have a quick look underneath the bonnet, find out the features that you need to know. So first of all, you've got all your fluids. So screen wash, this lifts off and you can fill power steering fluid and radiator fluid. And next one is the brake fluid. You've got the engine oil filler and dipstick for checking your levels, your paint code, your weight. So this looks like it's been upplated by SV Tech. Gross vehicle mass is 3,850. Train weight can't exceed 5,600 kilograms. That's if you were going to put a tow bar on and tow with it. Earth, and if you just pop your key in here and lift up, you have your positive contact for giving or receiving a jump start. Now inside the vehicle, just beside the habitation door is your main 12-volt control panel and your digital heating and hot water panel from Truma. So we'll go through the main 12-volt control panel first. So if you are hooked up, you'll get this little green light which indicates that you have got mains 240-volt on board. And then you've got your master on-off switch, which will obviously give you 12-volt if you're not hooked up and 240 if you are. Next to it you've got your master switch for all your lights, and then they all are individually switched around the vehicle. You've got your pump here, so you must have your pump on if you're using any water, as this pressurizes the water to the taps, toilet and shower. And then next to that you do have your exterior awning light, which is just above the habitation door. So if it's going to be dark night, you can put that on so you find your way back to your vehicle if you've been for a walk. And then these buttons correspond with these labels on the side. So you've got the one of the trailer, which is your leisure battery reading. You've got the one of the truck, which is your Fiat engine battery reading. You've got your fresh water here, so if you press it, it tells you your fresh water. So you've got half a tank of fresh water. See, that's orange. Once it goes red, it means you've got to top up. And obviously when that little tab goes into the red here, it means your waste is full. And then you can press and dim and brighten the panel should it be too bright for the people sleeping in this bed that drops down. Across from it you have your Truma digital control panel. So to turn it on and off, you just press and hold this button here, and then get into the unit, you would just press OK and enter. And as you can see, you've got 4 sources on the top. So you've got the in the far left, you've got the motorhome with the thermometer. This is how hot you want your vehicle, 30 degrees being the highest, and you can turn it all the way down till it says off if you don't want heating on. So once you're happy with the temperature set, you just press OK and move on to the water. So if you've got no water in your tanks, turn it off. Eco is equivalent to 40 degrees, hot is equivalent to 60 degrees, and boost prioritizes the water, so it'll turn off the heating until the water's hot, and then it'll turn the heating back on. So for this we'll just say hot, so that's 60 degrees of heating your water. Moving further along, you've got which fuel you want to be on. So fuel is diesel with it being Chausson. You've got a mixture of diesel and electric, 1 kilowatt of electric and diesel, a mixture of 2 kilowatts of electric and diesel. This is what you use in the cold, just to get the vehicle the temperature of the water if you're in desperate need. Obviously doubling the source reduces the time that takes to heat. Then you've got electric on 1 kilowatt, which you'd use on smaller CL sites or abroad, depending on what current they give you through the hookup. And then you've got electric on 2, which you'd use on all sites throughout the UK, as you're not wasting your fuel. So for this we'll just say mix 2, and we'll get everything hot quicker. And then moving along, you've got your fan, so you can have it on eco or high. So eco or high when it's running. So when you've got the heating running, you can have it on eco or high, or if the heating is off, when you go onto the fan it'll say vent, and then if you press on vent it'll give you a 1 to 10, and this is just recirculating the air within the vehicle, so you can use it as to cool it down in the summer months when it's warm. Obviously it'll not do a lot, but it might just circulate a bit of fresh air around the vehicle. And obviously when you've turned the heating off, if you want to just vent the hot air, you can do by turning the heating off and going to vent. But when it's on, you can have it on eco, which is better if you're sleeping, it keeps the noise down, or while camping, as it doesn't take a high voltage of 12 volt, or you can have it on high and you hear the fans get a little bit louder. So for this we'll just say eco. And then in the bottom left hand corner you do have a timer, so you can time it to come on and off. You've got the clock on the main display panel, and should you get a warning triangle in the middle here, if you go to the spanner setting, you can go to reset, press on it, it'll say preset, press again, and it will reset the panel, and you'll have to go in and set each individual source again: heat and hot water, source and fan. In the kitchen area you've got 3 lit gas rings, so allow them to cool before you put the lid down, but you will need some sort of gas match igniter to ignite the rings. And below you do have and there you have it. Your oven's lit and your grill. But always make sure with the oven shelf that the triangular bit goes to the back and the flat bit goes to the front, as this is designed to stop the burner from being blocked when it's lit from food substance. To operate your Thetford styled fridge freezer, so it's got a separate freezer box to the large fridge, and it's all controlled from this button here. So turn on and off by pressing and holding, press and the control panel will come on. A stands for automatic energy selection, and as you can see it knows that we're on hookup, so it's went to the hookup, which is 240 volt. If I was to take the hookup out now, it would switch over to the gas, which will then self-ignite, and if I was to then start the engine, it would go to the battery setting, and the battery setting is a feed off the engine alternator, and what that does is it turns the fridge freezer into a cool box, so it has to be pre-chilled before you turn the engine on, of course, otherwise it won't stay any cooler. So if you're keeping this at home, put it on a day or two before, put your shopping in, allow it to chill, and then you can leave it on automatic, it'll switch over. Or if you manually want to do it, you just press this square button here. So there's mains electric on its own, there's battery code 6, it's failed because the engine's not running, and there's gas. Here's your temperature. So you've got 5 being full temperature. You may want to just leave it on 4 because some people complain that 5 is very cold. And then you've got this setting here, which basically puts a bit of heat and stops the rubber from sticking when the fridge and freezer, especially the freezer, is on. But do take in mind when it's on automatic as well. Say you were to pull into a petrol station and fill up with diesel, you don't have 12 volt because you just knocked the engine off, you don't have 240 because you're not hooked up, but you've left your gas open. The fridge is programmed to wait 20 minutes before lighting on gas, so if you turn up to Wild Camp and you wonder why you can't get your fridge to go straight on automatic, to go straight on to gas, just turn it on to gas on its own and it shouldn't light without failing. And then when you are finished with the fridge freezer for the season, if you just look underneath these little clips, this little toggle, so there's one there and there's one here, and you put them into these little clips just up there, and it keeps the door open. So you would remove all your bits and pieces of the fridge freezer, give it a clean, and then put the doors like this, and it'll stop any mold growing in the fridge and freezer compartments. Underneath the fridge is your gas isolation taps. These are mainly for when the vehicle is habitation serviced. A technician will test that each appliance is reading the right gas standards. Should there be any problems with gas, turn the bottle off just to be safe. To operate your toilet, you press the blue button at the back, make sure the pump's on, and you'll get your flush, as you can see there. Always flush the toilet first, and then what you want to do is slide to the right with the grey lever, which opens the blade, allows everything to flow into the cassette. Use the toilet with the cassette open. Then once you've used the toilet, if you flush the toilet again with the blue button, and then if you slide the lever to the left, it isolates the blade on the cassette and you can get it out the outside of the vehicle should you need to empty and change the cassette. You will get a light on here when it's ready to change. Bathroom lights just here. Got a toiletry cabinet there. Toiletry cabinet here. Smaller one just here. Large mirror. And then open the windows. Push the tabs in, so this is the same on all windows within the vehicle. Push them out, push it out, it'll stay out. Push it all the way out to bring it back in, and then always make sure it's securely locked. Fly screen, and then blackout blind, and then if you pinch you can depart the two, and you've got a hanging rail for a towel there. Opposite the bathroom, so the toilet, you do have your separate shower cubicle with a duck board, so this is better for bearing weight. You can remove that to clean, or if you're travelling and going on a longer trip you can put lighter things on there. I would always recommend when you're winterising the vehicle, when you're putting it to bed for a couple of months in the winter, that you always eliminate all the water. So you'd open the freshen the waste from outside, you'd open the boiler, you'd open all the mixer taps within the vehicle, and you would unscrew the shower head from the hose and allow the hose to lie in the shower tray, so any water that builds up here can drain out throughout the vehicle and just out from outside. You've got a fly screen and a blackout blind on there. Hanging rail for if you've been caught in the rain walking the dog or out with the kids. If you put your coats on here and let them drip dry in the shower tray, and also you can use the shower head if they're a bit muddy and wash them off, or you can use it for your wet towels like it's designed for. Lock the skylight, unlock it, and then you can turn it here to open. Always make sure it's shut and that slid to the left to lock. So now in the rear bedroom you've got two single beds, storage underneath this step and storage underneath this step for shoes and bits and pieces. Wardrobes to either side. Got a hanging rail there, large storage, and of course a hanging rail this side with large storage as well. All your cabinets open by pushing the button behind the handle to release the travel catch to open the door. And you've got individually switched reading lights. So to drop your other bed down, which is a double bed, if you press to release the seatbelt system, and then if you pull the bed down, so it isn't electric, you just manually pull the bed down. Clip your ladder on here, and then you've got two stoppers underneath which you can just slide up to the big ends, and they'll stop the ladder from coming off. Good safety nets here, so if you're going to put children in the front, they don't roll out when they're in the sleep, but you can just unattach them, and then they are just clipped onto the frame underneath, which you can unattach as well should you want rid of them. So to work your table, it's a manual table. First of all, to move it you use this lever, and you can push it back, forth, front, back, so just in case you do spin them cab seats, which a lot of people do. And then to put it up and down, red lever, press it in, put your body weight on it as well. And what you can do is lift that out of there, push it down, and then you can put the cushions in and form a single bed underneath. Underneath the side facing seat beside the habitation door, you have your additional leisure battery, which is in here. Obviously your main leisure battery lives underneath the passenger seat, and the engine battery is underneath the floor. And then to form your fifth travelling seat, you'd remove the base cushion off the backrest, put the backrest in, which just clips over the wooden board there, and then keep your base cushion in, use the seat belt, and there you do have a 5th occasional seat. Above the fridge you have your status 570 TV aerial. So your booster at the back showing green, which means it's got a signal. You have got a booster on there as well, so you can go min and max should it be struggling to find a signal. But what you mainly do is loosen this off, so always make sure it's tight and the pole's pulled in when travelling. Once you get to site, you can loosen it off, push the stem up and use the wee toggle on the bottom to direct the aerial. But I would look where your other motorhomes and caravans are pointing. Point yours in a similar direction and you should get a signal. Now of course when that goes green, you've got a decent signal. When it's orange it means it's got a signal, but it can be weak. And obviously if it's red, it hasn't got a signal at all. And then this is your telly working. So what you need to do is, you've got source, so you've got digital TV off the digital aerial in there. If you ever fit the satellite, this telly is satellite ready. And it does have DVD, which is in the side there. But when you move site, you'll have to retune the telly. So if you press AQT, you press and hold. So just press and hold for about 30 seconds or so, then press OK, and it'll do an auto tune and find as many channels as it can in your area. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver, you do have your handbrake, tyre inflation kit here, so that'll have the gunk and the compressor in there. You'd pinch and slide along to block the passenger and driver doors out on an evening. And then on the door panel itself, you do have your electric windows and your electric mirrors, which is 2 positions each way, which is top and bottom. Come in here, you've got your headlight adjustment and rear fogs. This is your alarm indicator. So when you lock the vehicle, the key, it locks the habitation door, the cab doors, the bonnets, the garage doors. Obviously in an arms inside, but if you wanted to arm it with yourselves in or leave the dog in when you've nipped out to the shops, you'll obviously have to turn these sensors off, which are these here on both driver and passenger door pillars. So to turn them off, you put the key in the ignition, turn the ignition on, wait for the lights. Once you've got the lights, turn the lights off and press and hold, and you'll see it flashing red there until simply it doesn't flash anymore, and that is the ultrasonic sensors turned off. As soon as you were to start the engine, it'll go back to default setting of being on. You'll also notice this has been fitted with air suspension, so you can press these nipples here and allow the air out. Press this here and it'll blow them back up depending on what weight you've got in the vehicle. The compressor is situated underneath the wardrobe floor behind the shower, so that's where the vibration can be, but you can blow them up to what you need them to be to stiffen the suspension. Trip computer on the end of the wiper stalk, which goes through the screen in the middle, tells you your fuel usage, your times that you've travelled and the mileage you've covered. You've got your lights and your indicators, cruise control at the top. You get your desired speed and push up. Obviously if you cancelled with a brake, you can press to resume, or you can cancel on the end of the stalk, and down for speed limiter. Pushing up slowly goes up in 1 miles an hour, pushing up and holding goes up in 5s. Obviously it does have the kick down function, so you can press the accelerator at the floor and it'll override this speed limiter. 6-speed manual gearbox with lift the collar and into reverse. Hazards, locks the doors, heated mirrors, USB for charging, 12 volt for charging, and then you do have your temperature here, so hot or cold, fan speed 1 or more for the aircon to work, which is this button here, and then your distribution, so where you want it to go to. Recirculating air within the vehicle, obviously bringing fresh air in, and recirculating air on the other side. Then you've got a Pioneer head unit, so the last customer's fitted a Pioneer head unit to this. which has got DAB radio as well, as you can see the DAB aerial on the windscreen. So you can press 1 to 6 to save your favourite DAB channels. Go here and it brings you to the main menu, so you've got your navigation. And then you'd press the bottom right hand corner, new route, and you can put your address in. You've got Bluetooth audio, but obviously you'll have to pair your phone with this. So you'd go to your settings on your phone and look for a Pioneer head unit to come up. Press pair on there, pair on here, and then it'll ask you if you want to sync your contacts. Do that all through here as well, so you can go here and search for the phone here. But it's best to search it on your phone and find the head unit. And then you do have a heated and cooled glove box at the top by the air conditioning, and a standard glove box at the bottom. It does take CD as well. And you can turn the display off should you be having it on a site, stop the glare. As soon as you touch it, it comes back on. And then if you wanted to, for safety, you can pop this out, turns the head unit off. Taking this out and carrying it on you obviously stops them from stealing your head unit. And then to black the windscreen out, you just slide along. Slide this one along, meet in the middle, and that would black the windscreen out on an evening as well.